What's going on, everyone? Hopefully, y'all's night is going well. I'm doing good over here with a few drinks. Just got done shaving. Maybe look a little bit pink or whatever, but it's all good. So, you have a lot of people saying that Xbox is dead, people hating on Xbox, but obviously, this is only in the Pony fan base. Not anything to people that are enjoying the PlayStation 5 and probably got one for Christmas because they're just enjoying their games. They're not getting online, being, kind of slow, spending most of their days trying to attack Xbox communities, Nintendo communities, and PC communities because they can't obviously enjoy any games. If it's supposed to be so great, why are you not doing it? I game every day. And I'm on 51 video game clears this year. Last year I was about 46. Lifetime, I'm probably close to 2,000 or a little bit over because I've been gaming since 1994, so I've been gaming a long time. But we see here, despite a rocky couple of years, analysts reckons Xbox console war is actually looking pretty bright. If you look at the PlayStation sales chart, you will see a lot of Microsoft on there. And this is what I want to explain to people because they have a narrow point of view on Microsoft's plans. One, I'm just going to be very honest with you. Microsoft had a better first party year than Sony this year and last year. The only two first party games that Sony has was Spider-Man last year and Astro Bot this year. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at all the other stuff, it's just locked second party games and some third party. People bring up something like Silent Hill. I'm like, that's timed exclusive. I can play that on PC. So what if you're going to bring up Helldivers? That's second party. They don't own them, so it's not first party. And PC is carrying that, right? You know what I mean? Stellar Blade, that's not first party. That's a timed exclusive, and it's now coming to PC, and it'll eventually come over there. Um, so like when you take a look at that, then you start to realize, oh wait, so what is Sony really doing first party? Because if we want to talk about first party, we need to see what you're doing publishing and what you're doing development wise. If you're going to compare Sony and Microsoft or Nintendo, then I want to look at what they're publishing, what they're developing, what they're selling. The only thing PlayStation has better going for it right now is just hardware sales. That's it. Microsoft's Game Pass service is better. Their first party is better, and it's available day one on PC and Xbox. Their cloud service is better. And as a publisher, since they own COD now and they're selling all those other games, they're getting more sales than Sony as a publisher. So I don't understand how Xbox is dead because of that, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? Because dead means you're dead, it's flatlined, you're a Sega Dreamcast, and it's out the console industry, and it's not doing well. But they have so much money, you can never say that. And then we see that there's a potential future of them teaming up with OEM partners to make third-party consoles and get Steam on there, and they'll be able to have PlayStation consoles. So things could change very quick on that. And hardware is not the future; it's digital stream and cloud. So yeah, it's just very dumb to say that. Let's go down here and let's take a look at some of these results. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. You look at their results and the earnings reports, and you go, okay, that looks pretty damn good, and they're topping the charts on PlayStation. Uh, while the past few years have been somewhat up and down for Xbox as a whole, one industry analyst believes that the company is starting to correct course in time for a bumper 2025 for the brand. Now, 2025 is looking good too. We're going to have another Call of Duty. We know that. We're going to have a Valve. We know that South of Midnight. We'll see what happens with that. We got the next Doom coming out. We know that's going to be epic. Potential Everwild. That's going to be epic. We got Atomfall coming on Game Pass. We got a couple other games coming on Game Pass that we just don't know that's coming around the corner, but they're going to be there day one. And then we have Perfect Dark Remake. I don't know if that's launching next year. They got State of Decay 3. I mean, they have a lot of good games that you know that when you see it, it's going to be there day one. And they have been changing the tides ever since like after summer. Things have been going very well. They ended the year very, very well. Microsoft Flight Simulator, Call of Duty, Stalker, and Indiana Jones. And then earlier they had Hellblade, and then they put them on other platforms too. You can play them at higher settings. They give you that higher option. So if people only want to look at hardware, they're looking at a narrow pointed, a narrow, well, I like to say pointed, a point of view because you just only want to look at that to make things look good. But you need to look at the spectrum. You're going to make more money off of software than you will on hardware if you know what you're doing. So seeing here in an interview with Games Radar Plus, Matt Piscatella, executive director of games at Circana, discussed Xbox's past, present, and future, believing that the company's favors are about to turn, partly due to strong PlayStation sales as well. So what Sony's doing is benefiting Microsoft. Plus, they have to use their cloud services. They're making money off of that. The money that Sony's making is making money for Microsoft, and they're just sitting there. They're playing the game better than them. And they're not making these mistakes. Their biggest mistake was last gen on the carryover, and just at the beginning of that E3, you guys know what I'm talking about, where they blew everything with the DRM lockdown, losing the Call of Duty rights and losing the Destiny rights, and losing Bungie in general. And then Sony has that. But what mistakes have Sony made? I mean, come on, man. Concord, they got Bungie, but what has Bungie been doing? Gas Rush, Naughty Dog's failed IP. It didn't launch. They had to cancel that. Blowing half the generation, getting in bed with all that political correctness, on top of charging $69.99 for games that were just not worth $69.99. They're not getting the sales that they want. They're now surrendering to PC. They started off with crossplay eventually, but saying it was going to be from the ground up, copying Microsoft's cloud method, Game Pass method. I mean, we have to call out mistakes as we see it. Yeah, we know what Microsoft has done because everyone's been talking about it for 2 generations, but people don't want to highlight the mistakes that Sony made, and I think it's hypocritical, and that the Sony fan base is very weak. So I have to keep on reinstating this so people can be aware. So we see that, and the more they can broaden that appeal of their products, the IP across multiple or other platformers, why not do that? For Piscatella, and Piscatella, he's been giving you sales results for years. This guy's professional. He knows what he's talking about. The key to Xbox's future is to embrace other platforms rather than competing with them, and to ensure that even if console sales falter as they have in recent years, they can still make up for that with sales of their games. That's what I'm saying, because profit is profit at the end of the day. It's like, how much profit are you really making? You know what I mean? And this is what people are not understanding. Sony has been losing a lot of profit, definitely off of Concord, and canceling all those Gas Rush titles. That's why they fired Jim Ryan. Then they got this Fair Game around the corner. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? And when the only company that sells consoles that makes a profit are Nintendo. So where's the profit coming from outside of that? You see what I mean? This is where people are blind. They don't understand that. And I've been trying to tell them that. And ever since getting Activision, their profit and revenue has been went up big time. So if we want to look at other spectrums, how is Sony doing better than Microsoft? I wouldn't really say they are. They're just selling more consoles. That's it. But what about profit? So you look towards the future, and some of the things they've talked about, expanding the reach of the Xbox brand well beyond the Xbox console, is a key initiative, and they're executing on that. The future is this. Even the new PlayStation president has said, we're not keeping games on PlayStation anymore. We're going to branch out to PC and other platforms. Even if he isn't talking about Xbox Day 1, it's going to be PC and a Nintendo Switch too, so they can get more sales in Japan. Then guess what? The PlayStation publishing and profit is looking better. They're not going to be stuck in their egos thinking small-minded anymore. It's all about how much can you expand. That method that people are still trying to brag about is outdated, and it's not working anymore. And that's not the future. Only Nintendo can still do that. But we're going to see what they do. So, like you said, you look at their results and the earnings report and you go, okay, that looks pretty darn good, even though they recognize that console sales themselves are lagging for them. You look at it that way and the future's actually looking pretty bright. Although, yeah, it's been a rocky couple of years, but it's temporary. They're preparing for the future. While Xbox haven't invested so heavily in expanding Game Pass, to which subscriptions have long since begun to plateau, Piscatella believes that one of the service's most important aspects is a marketing machine for Xbox titles, describing it as having more of a broad approach, while subscriptions are more a part of doing things like driving sales on other platforms and ecosystems. Like Game Pass has a lot more subs than PlayStation Now, or whatever it's called now, Plus. They got 3 different subscriptions now, but to try to make it look better. But if they really were to just give you the only premium and extra numbers, it's going to be way lower because most people are just getting it to play online. But they're trying to combine that. You know what I mean? Whereas like Game Pass is actually embarrassing them. Sony's never going to give you their first party games day one. They're not doing that right now, and probably they can't afford it. So it's just no brainer. So Microsoft's winning in a lot of other categories, and they're being more user friendly if you want to think about it. I'm just being honest here because, as I told you before, I own all the consoles. I have my PlayStation 5 right there, my Series X, even though I have my $2,000 PC here, my Nintendo Switch right there. I'm getting the Switch 2 day one, and I'll grab the Pro when it's cheaper, at least $100 cheaper. I'm not paying for it right now. It's not worth it. For what? What are you giving me that I can play that I can't play on PC right now at much better settings? Because my PC blows away your PlayStation 5 Pro. You're not giving me exclusives right now. At what, Astrobot? I mean, it's a 10-hour game. I can get that in the future. You know, I mean, Spider-Man 2, I got the Platinums and all the other ones, but I can wait on that, and you're going to put that on PC anyways. So my thing is, it's like, if you're so patient as a gamer this generation, and you know eventually they're going to have to surrender and put all their games elsewhere, there's so many games and content in this world. Even if you were a damn multi-millionaire and you had all the time, you can't catch up with all of them in time. You know, with all the movie content, if you got a family or a lady friend, you got to work out, you got to do other things. You see what I mean? So you got to pick and choose. And I be gaming a lot too. I'm telling you. And even then, like it's a lot. Just owning all of them and having all their services and all that, plus PC2 and Steam and Game Pass and PlayStation Essential and just the AAA games and the Nintendo and them coming out with the Switch next year. I mean, it's a lot. Just even in that spectrum. So there's plenty to do on all platforms. All those people saying that dumb stuff like Xbox is dead are just people that are just immature and just want to hate and not give credit. They don't want to see anything positive. They just want to say something only negative. You know what I mean? And so that's why you see me balancing the spectrum on the PlayStation side. I have no problem with people enjoying the PlayStation that are not coming on YouTube making comments because this is not for them. This is not for people who want a game every day. This is for fanboys and ponies and ignorant people. And for Sony's arrogance that I expose. Just like Xbox got exposed the past 2 generations, now Sony's turn. What's wrong with that? Yeah, like I said, only fanboys have a problem. Just like only they had a problem with Microsoft getting Activision. You're benefiting me as a gamer with Game Pass on PC and on your console if you were only on there. Who are the people that would have a problem with that? Only ponies. So anyways, he says right here, he views Game Pass as an important part of Xbox's brand, but believes that Xbox's move to a more balanced approach as opposed to their previous focus on the service is a smart one. I think it's a really nice role to fill in a portfolio of products being offered to consumers, but perhaps the previous strategy of going all in on just that, course correcting from that seems to have been a good decision. So we see what I mean. So it's the same thing with Sony. If they didn't launch Helldivers 2 on PC, it would not even be nowhere even close to the success that it has. And you see some people bragging about that, not knowing that it's second party and that it's on PC and that eventually it will come to Xbox. But the point is that they need PC to make themselves look better, because if they're only doing what they're doing only on PlayStation, those days are gone and it's not working and it's not looking good. And they realize that. Definitely trying things at $69.99 too. It's just not working. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say, right? Because it's like, what else do you have to say when you correct these ponies and you also put them in a place and let them know that if you look at the broader picture, then they're actually doing fine and the future for them is bright. The biggest disappointment in this generation is Sony. And I had a gentleman leave a very interesting comment too, saying that how they could have made things a lot better, you know, giving us games that we really care about. Like, you know, we could have had a Sly Scooper remake trilogy, a sequel, Jack and Dexter, Killzone, Resistance, SOCOM, Sci-Fi Filter. We had all these games we could have got, but they focused on garbage like Concord, Fair Game, giving us over like 4 remasters of Last of Us, 4 remasters of Horizon. It's like, what are you doing, man? Because they don't have any ideas. And they're kind of stuck in a way, and they messed up for like the last 2 years, and next year they may start finally releasing some games, but it's like you blew like 2.5 years by making dumb mistakes, and you're able to get away with it because of the position that Microsoft was in the hardware aspect, and because you made the right transition from the PS4 to PS5. That's doing you a favor, but does not mean you're not messing up though big time. You are, and Nintendo is not in their prime like they were with the Switch, but the Switch 2 is right around the corner, and by the time you do what you're supposed to do, they're taking over again. And Microsoft's going to continue to be better now. They're on a good path now. They had their suffering, but now it's going to start to be really good. So we need to look at things bigger than hardware. And like I said, you'll have people come in and still say something negative when you put these good sunlighted point of views in front of their face. But they still want to come in and only say something negative because that's the way they look at the Xbox brand and the way they look at that base. They just want to hate and project on it. But when you professionally criticize Sony and their arrogance and their moves and the ignorance of that pony base, they can't handle it. They get all butthurt. I say, take it out of there. Take the dills out of your behind. But all in all, let me know what y'all think. Glad to cover this. Like, comment, subscribe. And like I said, we got some other stuff to highlight, but we see that Microsoft is making some smart moves here. And we got to give them credit for that. And a lot of things they've done, Sony is using. And it made PlayStation a lot better. We know Party Chat, right? We know Game Pass. We know Cloud. We know them trying to go back into the handheld industry. We know them doing cross-gen. We know them going on PC. Sony is just imitating them, and they imitate Nintendo a lot. So there we have it. Peace out, y'all. Be real, not fake.